Grave digger queen coming at you. Well, we have another Zac and Harlii tale. Get out the Christmas cookies, people. You know, as odd as it seems, I do know Santa and Krampus. We used to hang out. Yeah, that's back in the day when I used to do hood rat things with my friends. You ain't lived until you smashed a mailbox with a bat while you riding a sleigh. At any rate, Zac and Harlii are on vacation in Colorado, and they bring the children. The name of this tale is Santa Can't, but Krampus Can by Montsho Shelby. I see you at the end, children. Zac. It was a week before Christmas, so we figured we'd give the kids something to remember. Harlii, Whisper, Rumor, and little baby Zagan entered our hotel room. We were treated to a picturesque view of the snow-capped mountains in Colorado. As we looked at the slowly cascading snow from the lodge window, Rumor asked, "Do you think Santa can find us if we're here?" "Santa can't, but Krampus can," said Whisper, laughing. "Stop trying to scare your sister," said Harlii. I didn't take Whisper's comment as anything other than a way to scare her sister, but by the same note, if Rumor said it, I'd probably listen. Rumor tends to just say things at random that come true with shocking accuracy. I hope that we could just leave all those little supernatural surprises behind us, though that didn't do anything to rule out the non-supernatural ones. I stepped away to the bathroom to take a quick piss, and there I saw a fit woman with dangerous, glistening curves stepping out of the shower. She happened to be in the process of reaching for a towel. "Hey, Zac," spoke Izzy. I slammed the door. "Harlii, your mom is here," I said. Harley's mother was clearly the prototype for Harlii. All the dangerous curves she had, plus 18 years. And trust me when I say it was a kind 18 years. If I didn't know Harlii when I met Izzy, I knew for a fact she would have gotten me in serious trouble when I was younger. Izzy mercifully emerged from the bathroom with a towel around her most intimate bits and her hair. "If you wanted to see my tatas, you didn't have to sneak into the bathroom, Zachary," said Izzy. Harlii walked into the room holding little Zagan. She ran over to hug her mom and spoke very fast in Portuguese. Izzy picked up the baby. I walked out back into the common room, and Rumor had her little bird perched on her forearm like a falconer. It was pretty much just a wooden block, but you'd never be able to tell the way she spoke to it. "This is where you can live, Levi," said Rumor to her toy. When I knelt down to hug the girls, Rumor said, "Uncle Lachlan's at the door." I smiled, and as I pursed my lips to speak, there was a knock at the door. I answered, and standing there was Lachlan. He was blond and fit as ever, maybe even a bit more. We bro-hugged it out. "Where are your bags?" Lachlan shrugged. "They'll turn up," he said without concern. Whisper and Rumor rushed the door and pulled onto Lachlan's leg. Get him off, he said as if the girls were assaulting him. I smiled. It was always fun to see the kids being adorable from different perspectives. Lachlan held up Whisper and Rumor in each arm. "So, where's the other little hellraiser?" Lachlan asked. I gave a knock on the door just to make sure the girls were decent. "Come in," said Izzy through the door. I absolutely didn't trust that. Izzy loved to set little traps for me to walk into. When Harlii and I weren't together, who cared? It was cute, but now Harlii could easily feel some sort of way about it. Harlii, for the most part, is almost fearless, except for a few minor phobias. Sure, she'll bitch and moan, but at the end of the day, she's gonna deal with whatever it is in her face. That being said, that doesn't do a damn thing about her temper. Most people only see the angel sitting on her shoulder, but I, at times, see the other one. I once made the mistake of asking her to calm down, and 10 minutes later I locked myself in the garage afraid of what she might do. I didn't even want to think about the trouble I'd be in if I got caught side-eyeing her mom. "Are you two decent in there? Lachlan is here," I yelled through the door. I could hear Izzy speaking in Portuguese. I couldn't understand what she said, but from Harley's reply, it must have been extra saucy. "Mother, please," Harley said in a don't be gross sort of way. "We'll be right out," Harley said for clarification. That was good enough for me. I walked back into the front room to see Rumor was holding court. Lalchan was caught in the middle of the explanation of why her toy wooden bird, Levi, was so important. Then he says things. He knows who will die, but I just say, no they won't, and then they don't," Rumor went on to say. I've heard the mechanics of Levi explained to me many times through the prism of a 5-year-old's imagination. While the details did change from time to time, the only thing that didn't was that the bird could talk to her, and it said outrageous, creepy shit. I handed Lalchan a screwdriver I mixed, knowing his style he'd need it. He wasn't fully prepared for how exhausting and relentless dealing with children could be. Whisper tried to take the drink from my hand when she saw me handing it to Locke. "Nope, this one's for Uncle Lalchan," I said. "Well, I wasn't really drinking, but for you." Lalchan took the drink and gulped it down like a true alkie. "Who's all coming to this shindig?" Lalchan asked. "You, Izzy, and Bruce, but we doubt that he's gonna show. Nobody's heard from him in a few weeks," I said. "Look, man, I'm gonna warn you. Harley's mom, Izzy, is a firecracker. I know you like to get into shit, but whatever it is she's selling, you don't want to buy it," I said. At that moment, Harley and Izzy emerged from the master bedroom with baby Zagan in hand. Locke stood when the ladies entered. Izzy was dressed casually in a white and pink ski suit. Even bundled for traversing the snow, Izzy's curves came through, and I knew for sure Lalchan noticed it. "Look at these two boys. Mama hungry for a snack," said Izzy. Harley closed her eyes in slight embarrassment. "I'm Lalchan. Pleased to meet you," said my Aussie buddy. I side-eyed him with the same disdain that Harley gave her mom. It wasn't as if they couldn't hook up. I just hoped they didn't use a family vacation to get their rocks off. Lalchan kissed Izzy's hand. "Such a gentleman," Izzy claimed. "Can we go out and skate on the snow?" said Whisper. I couldn't have been more pleased to have the kids kill the mood. I and Harley both spoke at the same time. "Yeah, sure, honey, of course." Lalchan's eyes lingered on Izzy, uncomfortably, but what could you expect of an eternal bachelor with a body count that would even make some men go, ew? Harley. Mom spoke to me in Portuguese, and I had to admit, it was fun to see her again, but that was never a problem for Izzy. It was anything with even a whiff of responsibility. It was all fun and games when I was 5 and we played stuff as many toys in your bag as you can before we run to the car. Non-stop fun was not as fun as you'd think. "So, who's the blonde white boy? What is his accent, Australian? He can put a shrimp on my Barbie," Mom said, chuckling. I rolled my eyes, then looked at the kids. I wasn't sure how much Portuguese they picked up, and I wasn't sure if I wanted Izzy to be the one to teach it to them. Leaving your man around Izzy was like leaving raw meat in a lion's cage. While I'd like to say she's matured and grew out of this still in my boyfriend's face, for all I knew, she may have just gotten older. Despite my guarded nature towards men, in general, I trust Zac, despite myself, which is why if he ever did something that off-brand, I know I'd be going to jail for what I did to him. The lodge we're staying at is nice. Ever since the show blew up, I can honestly say we have enough to be comfortable. There is a lift to take us up to the mountains. I don't know if I'm doing all that. I like looking at snowfall way more than being in it. I'm very glad Lalchan decided to come, so I know he wouldn't try to drag me along doing his white boy shit. "Ah, shit. I'm sorry, girls. I forgot to pack your skates," said Zac. "No worries, mate. When I was driving down, I saw a supply shop a block down," said Lalchan. The girls went through a roller coaster of emotions when they heard he forgot their skates, but rose back up to high heights at the possibility of buying new things. "Does the Aussie have money? I know he has abs. Usually those two things don't mix," said Izzy. "He works in films, mommy." I spoke in Portuguese. "Oh," she said, as if she had found a new angle. I knew Lalchan, maybe not as well as Zac did, but his reputation as a tomcat was well documented, and I hoped he would have the presence of mind not to go after my mom. Not because anything I would do, but because as far as getting into trouble went, she was a pro. I'm sure he was an amateur at best. If it wasn't for the enthusiasm of the children and festive lights, I would have been over the cold that was cracking my face. The children tended to ground me in a responsibility that at first felt like shackles, but when looked upon correctly, it was more an invitation to be a better person. Each new responsibility, the show, the kids, Zac, they were bricks that were building me into a better person. That being said, there was always someone that had to poke at the foundations to see just how strong they were. When we got to the supply shop, Whisper and Rumor broke into a run. "Don't go where I can't see you," Zac said. "He is so good with the children," Izzy whispered in Portuguese. "Do you call him Papi?" She tacked on with a smirk. I looked to Mom and smirked. I wanted to laugh, but I also didn't want to encourage her. The blonde girl behind the counter looked to Zac and Lalchan and smiled, glossing over me with the baby in my arms as if I were holding a bowl of toxic waste. "What can I do for you today?" she said to Zac. Lalchan stepped in. "Just looking for ice skates, love." Zac looked back to me with a probing glance as if he didn't want me to think he was making eyes at that young little snow bunny. It was rather adorable. Seeing our relationship started from mutual respect, that most certainly tracks. It is odd, though it always felt as if Zac was in my life even when he wasn't, and it didn't matter if we were together or not, it always felt as if we would eventually find our way to each other. Even if somehow the marriage ended, I believe in my heart the work wouldn't. Our mutual passion for our craft burned in lockstep with our adoration for each other. Wait, what the fuck was this bitch doing touching my man's face? I stepped up. Izzy felt it coming and instinctively snatched little Zagan from my arms. "Excuse me?" I said to this little OnlyFans model. "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm with this gentleman. I'll be with you shortly," she said without the slightest hint of jest. "No, we're together," I said with a little more bass than I needed. "Harlii, something was in my hair," Zac said through gritted teeth. "Oh," the girl's eyes went wide as if she was just seeing me now. Oh, she said, doing a double take. I thought the girl trailed off as if she didn't want to finish her thought. "No, go ahead," I said, giving the girl just enough rope to hang herself. "I thought," she said, looking to Lalchan, then to Zac, then to Whisper and Rumor. "Did you think?" Zac said. Lalchan started laughing, then smacked Zac on the ass. "Don't be like that, hun." Lalchan nearly fell over laughing. "I'm so sorry," she said to us both. I rolled my eyes. Zac blushed but ran off to find the children, attempting to escape this awkward exchange. The girl looked to Zagan. "Are they all yours?" she said. "Yeah, they are. I want one day. It's so nice that you managed to get them out before it's not possible anymore." I couldn't tell if she was talking shit about me, stupid, or a mixture of both. "I have a few years before all the horses are out to pasture." "Oh, okay," she said as if she had already lost interest. Izzy whispered to me in Portuguese, "Beat her ass, Fleha." I smirked. If this was the irresponsible me from years ago, all it might take was a badly placed word and a dare before I'd be over this counter. The kids put their skates on the counter and smiled. Zac thanked her and she thanked him back, squeezing his arm. She was really testing me. The children laced up and were out on the rink of a frozen nearby park. The adults all sat on a bench as so many other spectators. Rumor zoomed past us in hopping circles with her wooden bird Levi in front of her as if it were flying. "Why does she like that toy so much?" asked Izzy. "She insists that the bird Levi speaks to her," I said. "Is she crazy or does she have the gift?" said Izzy in all seriousness. She sees something,
Zac said, backing me up. Levi says Krampus is in the woods, said Rumor. Ophelia, said Izzy as an endearment to me. Does she have 100% accuracy? Izzy pulled a flask from her coat, then passed it to Lalchan. Zac snatched the liquid from her hand for whatever reason. Oh, you're his keeper, Zachy? Said Izzy.
Of course I am,
Zac insisted. Well, thanks, Mom, Lalchan said sarcastically.
Look, dude, you were the one who told me you weren't drinking anymore. I'm just trying to be a bro.
Lalchan slapped Zac on the back and they shook hands. I want to hit the slopes. Any of you down, Zac? Asked Lalchan. Zac took a look to me to gauge my reaction. It wasn't like he wouldn't go because of me. He was just so damn polite sometimes. He wanted to make sure I wasn't annoyed by it. I know myself, and it's times like these the old me might have had issue with a man that cared about my well-being and didn't just do whatever a man did. But I was growing as a person, and so was he.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked you, Lalchan said, turning his attention to me. Is it okay if Zac can come out and play? Dude, don't make me kick your ass,
Zac said with a smile. Ooh, Zac said a bad word, said Whisper. Whisper's ears were basically radar dishes when it came to swear words.
I'm gonna hit the slopes. Can you hold down the fort with Izzy and the kids? Said Zac.
Seeing this wasn't a romantic vacation, I didn't mind, but if it was just me and him, ghosting me would have been a problem.
Lalchan. Me and Zac swung by the supply shop and picked up a few provisions. I really thought we had everything we needed, but I just wanted to see if I could seal the deal with the girl behind the counter. On the way up the mountain, on the lifts, the sun was on its way down. Chances were good we'd be wandering back in pitch blackness in the wee hours of the morning. Why'd you want to ski this late into the night? Asked Zac. Why not? Are you getting soft on me? No, I'm here, aren't I? Zac conceded. Zac was like me. He had to live close to the edge and wasn't quite content living a mundane life. But as the years move on, it seems to sap the whimsy right out of your body like a vampire. Zac's still young enough that he hasn't lost his get up and go, but I see it coming. I wonder when it'll come for me. Each layer of attachment seems to shrink the boundaries of your imagination. I suppose that will come for me in the form of my body breaking down. I want to do the expert run. Are you down? Yeah, of course, Zac said with enthusiasm. He was still in there. I just had to make sure he didn't bury himself under the blanket of responsibility. We were freezing our balls off at the summit, and by then the sun was all the way down. Come on, let's go, I said. Most of Zac and I's relationship was not based on deep conversations and the sussing of existential problems. Our relationship was dictated by actions. We knew who we were from the fears we faced. We slid down the mountain navigating by the light of the moon. While we weren't explicitly trying to win or outdo the other, we always were. Zac hadn't lost a step and he was in the lead. I was pelted in the face by his powder trail. He took a turn towards the icy woods and we began slipping past trees. One false move and we were dead, and this was how we knew we were alive. Thick snowflakes landed on my visor, obscuring my vision. I saw Zac up ahead, faltering. He was turning his head frantically. Perhaps his vision was obscure too. He wedged his skis and attempted to slow down. I did too. He stared off to his right so hard that when he turned his attention back, he couldn't avoid the tree ahead of him. He swerved, but not enough to miss it entirely. The tree shattered his left ski in half before he bounced off and rode the rest of the way down. I skidded to a stop and ran over to Zac. Did you see it? Zac said, more concerned with that than his obvious broken leg. Zac, what the fuck are you talking about? He stood up on his good leg using the ski post to give him balance. It was impressive how quickly he managed to deal with his injury, but then again, this was Zac we were talking about. He had been breaking limbs since his preteens.
What the fuck am I looking for, mate?
I saw someone that died.
Zac, you know I don't buy into that ghost hunting bullshit you do.
You don't have to. You'll see it soon enough, he said.
I suppose we would have to agree to disagree. Zac made most of his money co-hosting a ghost hunting show with Harlii, and while he and I both knew his investigations had elements of bullshit in them, Zac was a believer. I didn't know how much he believed, but I knew he believed at least enough to bring it up from time to time. Well, mate, the lift will be stopped by the time we get to it. I thought it might be fun to trek back up to the mountain anyways, but now I'd imagine carrying you up there will be less fun.
Look, Locke, best we get somewhere where we aren't so exposed.
We hobbled in the forest looking for anything that resembled shelter. Zac's head swiveled from side to side in silent sentry, while mine did in disbelief and shame. After a short jaunt, we saw a small wooden lodge. It looked as if it could have been a base camp, but it had been neglected and forgotten to the point it had fallen victim to disarray. Half covered in snow, we staggered over that direction.
"Hey, Lalchan,"
psst, came a voice from the woods.
I could place who it was, and it was my mate Brody that died a few years back in a car stunt gone wrong.
My head knew I didn't hear what I heard, but my heart told me it was exactly what I heard.
"You're looking around, so I'm guessing you heard it too,"
said Zac, making it clear that he wasn't putting any of that cunty "I told you so" energy in it.
"Yeah, I heard something. Let's just get out of the open."
We approached the old cabin that was half buried in a mountain of snow so high I might be able to climb to the second-story window. I held my ski poles with two hands as we traversed the steps of this deserted lodge. Zac held his second ski pole in his right hand and used the other to keep himself on his feet. The door wouldn't budge. "Do you mind if I said to Zac smugly as I kicked in the door, something I knew he couldn't do in his current state. The wind whistled through this forgotten place, sending in a dusting of snow.
"Push that door back,"
said Zac as he inched on one leg to push the heavy couch to the door. Before I could say let me do it, he was halfway there, inching along. Zac was more capable on one foot than some people were with two. Zac plopped down on the couch he pushed the moment it was in place, then caught his breath.
"We should fortify the room and see if that fireplace works. Or, at least I should. You can probably climb up the mountain and get help. If my leg wasn't fucked, that'd be what I'd do."
"Well, you're not me, mate. We'll wait the night and make it to the lift together. That's the easier hike." The sound of a wailing roar bayed in the distance. "What the fuck is that?" I asked.
"That's whatever it is fucking with us," said Zac. "Trying to get us to fuck up."
"What is trying to get us to fuck up?"
Zac shrugged. "Could be anything at this point. Guessing wrong is sometimes worse than not knowing at all."
As I rooted around in the fireplace and started breaking a wooden chair to sacrifice to it, I said, "So, does shit like this just follow you?"
I'd like to say no, but it feels like the more you know, the more things seem to be drawn to you. I don't have much evidence about it other than my word.
Look, mate, I trust your word more than shit I see on film. A, you suck at acting, and B, you're not that creative, I said with a shit-eating grin.
I'd probably kick your ass right now if I wasn't standing on one leg.
You could try, I replied playfully.
Zac hopped around slowly. He began looking through cabinets. He opened a lightless refrigerator. I just took my time checking windows and doors.
Honestly, there were too many exits and windows to block them all. Looking outside in a clear shot of moonlight was a creature taller than a man could ever be. It was silver or white, I couldn't tell. It completely slipped into shadow. I held my stomach and managed to slip back down to Zac. What the fuck are we looking at? I said with none of my usual calm. Zac, on the other hand, held his face relaxed. Look, Zac, I know this is a shit question and all, but is this Krampus? Zac chuckled. I doubt it highly. What brought you to that conclusion? Rumor said something about Krampus and you said she's right most of the time. She is, but she's still a child. She has a limited amount of life experiences. If she saw something that looked close enough, that's what she'll call it, Zac said to clarify. I hope so, Zac, because if we're counting sex as naughty, I might just be going to hell. Hell? Nah, Moripovich, maybe. Zac tossed me a sleeve of crackers. I hadn't the foggiest how he got it. Nah, mate, your stomach is growling. I can hear it from here. I'm on a cleanse. I've been cutting weight to double for Alexander Skarsgård. How long have you been on it? 3 days? Dude, eat the fucking crackers. Reluctantly, I tore into the brown package. As I crunched, I said, how the hell are you not freaking out? Experience, was all he said.